Till about a year ago, he was a bubbly, super active 19 years old, full of ambitious dreams and plans. But things changed drastically for Ravi after he met and became friends with Samir, who was also a 19-year-old. Strangely, over the months their relationship seemed to enrich Samir but have an opposite effect on Ravi. Once full of life, Ravi began losing weight and acquired a gaunt look which disturbed his parents no end. They took him to the best doctors and hospitals in Delhi and Mumbai, but test results were always normal and left everyone perplexed. Ravi didn't seem to have any emotional problems either and insisted he had a very rewarding relationship with Samir, who incidentally, seemed to thrive health-wise and otherwise in Ravi's company. A few days ago, the mystery of what ails Ravi was solved by a fascinating stroke of luck, too long to narrate here. Briefly, Ravi is in the most dangerous grip of a Rakt Pishach. The supernatural world is inhabited by many types of spirits, and amongst these, the Pishachas are considered to be amongst the lowest, most evil and most vicious of them all. Pishachas is the term usually given to such souls who generally inhabit the astral plane known as Prataloka that coexists with the physical plane of earth. Pishachas are of many types and they are all very powerful. Rakt Pishachas are known as Rakt Pishachas because they need to suck or drink blood, usually human, much like vampires, to stay alive and keep their power at a certain level or increase it. One dose of blood lasts them for a fixed period, and it is a matter of survival for them to get their next dose of blood before the fixed period expires, generally on Amavasya night at midnight or before 3 a.m. Rakt Pishachas will go to any lengths to get their blood dose before the time limit, and it is most important to stop them before this, otherwise they invariably kill whoever they have targeted. Although all Pishachas are very powerful, the Rakt Pishachas are amongst the most powerful. The reason for this is that while, for example, Van Pishachas who haunt forests, or Jal Pishachas who haunt water bodies, have a confined sphere of action, the Rakt Pishachas are not bound territorially and they are equally at home in both rural and urban settings. Like other Pishachas, Rakt Pishachas too are diabolically clever and can change form and voice at will, either to appear as handsome men, Pishachanis appear as beautiful women, or to change appearance to resemble someone who is a familiar form for the victim. In Ravi's case, the Rakt Pishacha is using poor Samir as the fall guy. Generally, Pishachas are the ghosts of those who were more devoted to material pleasures and who died unnatural deaths, committed suicide, or died violently, murdered, or suddenly accidents. People have asked why Pishachas are so evil and why do they need to continually renew their power. Generally, Pishachas are the ghosts of those who were more devoted to material pleasures and who died unnatural deaths, committed suicide, or died violently, murdered, or suddenly accidents, as well as those whose bodies could not be found and whose final rites were not performed. Because of their unnatural, untimely deaths and because their souls are not really evolved, they tend to remain extremely confused and disoriented after death. Their desires for food and other pleasures remain active and strong, but after death, such desires cannot be satisfied the way it happened on Earth. Many of them, therefore, become angry and frustrated because they are becoming weaker all the time, and they try to find ways of gaining power and becoming strong by preying on humans. Getting into the clutches of a Pishacha, particularly a Rakt Pishacha, is a terrible experience, and getting out of the clutches of a Pishacha is extremely difficult. Having targeted a human, Rakt Pishachas have been known to wait for very long periods and prepare their victim, i.e. win their trust, before killing them to recharge their own power. Paranormal experts are able to recognize very dangerous Rakt Pishachas because of their own powers and knowledge of the supernatural. But even for ordinary people, there are certain very clear indicators from which a Rakt Pishacha in human form can be recognized. For example, they usually appear as very sympathetic individuals, but they prefer to spend time with targeted humans mostly in the twilight hours or after dark. bright sunlight or bright light makes them uncomfortable. They will avoid places of worship and places where there are mirrors. And most important, they cannot sustain their human form indefinitely. There will be times when they are there one moment and gone the next. There will be times when their true very ugly expression will flit across their faces. There will most certainly be attempts to unknowingly suck blood from the victim before the final killing. The last factor listed above makes the victim very weak, and if anybody is in a relationship, it may be of any sort, in which the person is getting weaker for no obvious reason, it is always advisable to get both a medical checkup and a check-up from a paranormal expert or someone familiar with the supernatural. This is because unless steps are taken to stop and disintegrate the Rakt Pishach before the time limit for having blood expires, the victim will die. In Ravi's case, the deadline for the killing is just a few months away. Can he be saved? It's going to be very tough, because the Rakt Pishach taking on Samir's form is not only diabolically deceptive but desperate and determined. He knows precisely what to do while we are just grappling, trying out ways of destroying him before he destroys Ravi.
If you like this video, subscribe our channel.